Hello there, Ray here, and today I would like to show you this very simple TNT query that I designed. I designed this TNT query because I wanted a simple TNT query that could be able to be moved forward and duplicate TNT the entire time while being moved. So with this system, you can see that it doesn't take very many blocks to build this up, and at any point I can update this engine back here and it will move the entire system forward 1 meter. And during the entire process, it is capable of constantly duplicating TNT. This is really nice because it keeps the profile very small and compact. What makes it difficult to duplicate the TNT while also moving the entire segment forward is that this piston is constantly retracting and extending, but it can only be moved when it's completely retracted. So for that reason, we have to wait until the piston is retracted before moving it. We also have to wait until this segment is 1 meter in front of it, so that way we can move this segment, then move this next segment. Therefore, we're not getting over the push limit. So a typical way to overcome this problem is to just move the observer clock out of the way, and therefore the piston here is no longer getting power, and therefore you can move the piston as well as the TNT duper, and then later on you push in the clock afterwards to make it pulse again. Now with this system here, it took me several hours to come up with this design, and I ran across a couple observer bugs during the process, but I finally got this to work, and I'm pretty proud of it because it's such a small profile and it works really nice too. But what we got here is a TNT duplicator up front, and then we got a piston which is pulling it back and forth, and it's being operated by this observer clock, which is 2 observers back to back. Then the way that I have it so that the entire system can move forward is that I also make these observers come over here to this redstone lamp, and then from there is another observer block which is pulling the signal from here and pushing it into this slimestone block here. So when it is time to move the entire segment forward, what we'll have is an engine pushing all of these segments here, which are just instant segments. They all move forward 1 meter. This will allow this piston here to be in this location. It will try to update and push forward because this redstone block is butting it, but it most likely won't be able to move this segment forward because this piston is constantly pushing, and it's unlikely that this piston will be in the retraction state while this is pushing forward. But the way that I overcame this problem is that since this observer clock is also coming back and is constantly updating this slime block here, therefore this slime block is also updating this piston here. So it's constantly being updated, so whenever the chance comes when this piston is completely retracted, then it will allow this piston to push the entire segment forward. So we can see that. If I just update this, pushes forward, and as soon as it's possible for this piston to push, it will try to push the segments forward. It works really nice. As you can see, it's pretty low profile as well. For best results with this query, you want to have it 16 meters above the ground. This way the TNT doesn't bounce off the ground and come back and destroy your query. You also want to have this around Y level 80 to 85 if you want the TNT to be able to reach all the way down to the lowest point of the world and clean out the blocks inside of the bedrock. Some things to note is with these duplicators, if you would happen to go into unloaded chunks, there's a chance that they will break if you have them running while you're doing that. You can turn them off just by removing this observer here, which will stop them. Pretty simple. But it might just be easier to set this up and run it while you have it going. That way you don't have to worry about it breaking, since you'll just run it and then stop it at the very end of it. You do want to remove the liquids prior to running this TNT query, or you could try to remove the liquids while it's running. A little bit hard because the TNT will kind of push your character around while you're trying to remove the liquids. Now, to move the entire system forward, you can do it manually just by having an engine like I have here. Updating the engine, it will move the entire system forward 1 meter and constantly be duplicating TNT. The other option is to put in an automatic system like I have done here, and this is a pretty cool system that I came up with, which is a really slow clock using a two-way flying machine that goes and hits a bumper. So I made this bumper so that it will push back the two-way flying machine and also move itself forward 1 meter. Then the two-way flying machine will come over here and it will update this engine, which will move itself forward as well, while also sending back this two-way flying machine. There's quite a bit of ghost blocks hanging onto it, but you get the point. This allows it so that the machine will slowly creep forward 1 meter at a time, and the distance I got between these two things, as you can see, is not that much of a distance, pretty small distance, but this allows you to give perfect timing so that it's able to reach all the way down to the very bottom of the world. And you can see here it comes in again, and it will update the engine, move it forward, and the TNT duper will move forward 1 meter. So it's a really easy way to automate the system. That way you don't have to manually send the engine forward 1 meter at a time. This segment here in the back is the instant pushing forward segment. As you can see, they all move at the same time, and Pingu helped me make this. Although you don't really need to have an instant one if you don't want to. If you want each module to move forward with a short delay, that also works, just because these are smart pistons, so you don't need to have them like synchronized or anything. And but I think the instant one looks a lot cleaner, and it's pretty cool to see the whole thing moving forward. But if you have a really big segment like that, it may become kind of laggy when all the segments move at once, so you may want to put in some delay. There you have it, guys, a very simple TNT query that you can use in your very own world. I will provide a download if you want to see exactly how to set this up, as well as the distance between the different modules. Now, if you found this interesting, show me a like. If you'd like to see other crazy slimestone contraptions like this, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Bye bye!